Hi everyone, Marcus here from MADpack, and if you love UCs, PVs and everything that have a E of electricity, this is the place for you. And today we are going to talk a little bit more about the Gotway or Begode RS high speed. And if you know me for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of the Gotway MSP. There is things that I don't like so much, and this wheel, like I said before, I've done a video just talking about it. What was my opinion about the RS, and I continue to have the same, but even some things are even better. So if you are thinking to purchase this one, I have to say to you guys that is an amazing wheel. We are going to also talk a little bit more about the bearings and what I think is really the problem, because I've been using the Emotion V11 with the Z bearings. So we'll talk about the RS bearings in a second and the hollow motor that you have on the RS and why I think that there is so much problems with it, but we'll talk about that in a second. We are here to talk about this wheel that being crashed at 45 miles per hour, and we know the problems that been having a Gotway wheel, because when you crash, normally your wheel is completely gone. And I can tell you that the shell on this one is much better than the shell on the MSP. It's a massive difference, and I tell you why. So this wheel have crashed at 45 miles per hour, and like you can see, the handle is not broken at all. So if it was the MSP, the handle will be completely broken. So definitely a pro that you have here. Also, the way that it fits, it feels that is a little bit tighter, but on the inside continue the same problem, that the waterproofing is simply rubbish. So don't expect that is better on the RS. They continue to don't have solve the issue that is so easy to solve. Just giving an example, if they have done some holes on the sides so that when the water goes down it goes out once again, it will have solved that. So Gotway Begode, just do that. It's not so difficult and you don't need to change the design of your wheels. Forget that, we are here to talk about the good things. The design of this wheel is very similar to the other one, but the look of it is slightly more bulky, and when you talk the plastics, they feels stronger, and the beats that this will take at 45 miles per hour respond to that. The MSP, I have to say to you guys that I hit one time some small rocks and I damaged the handle, and I was going like 20 kilometers per hour, not more than that. We are talking about comparing a crush of 45 miles per hour compared to a crush at 15 miles per hour. Yeah, is much better. The second thing that I really love, that I said already that in the past, is how much bright they are, these lights on the back and on the front, and that was something that I always hated about the Gotway MSP and the Gotway MSX. They are not visible at all, so that's why also I never thought that was the best wheel to use it during the night, but this one is going to be much more visible. And when we talk about driving during the night or riding during the night, I'm going to bring a product that you will simply love it with discounts, but we'll talk about that in another video. I really like the logo saying RS, but I would prefer to have here a light. Also, this is going to help you to have better beepings, but also is another place where the water can go in, because the installation of water on this wheel is simply horrible, like we already know about the MSP. But this is more about the main focus is the crash that I have already said to you guys. I think the wheel is much stronger than it was on the past, and there is two other things that I want to talk is wobbles. There is another thing that I want to talk that is about the experience riding with this. I'm going to show you some footage of the day that I was recording this, but I had some issues with the microphone. Damilola, when he contacted me, said, can I send you the wheel completely smashed? And I was like, do I really want to do this video? But he insists so much, you need to try, it's nothing the same. Riding with it really feels different. It's a completely different wheel, and definitely it's a massive difference. So since you put your feet and you start riding with it, it's so smooth. And one thing that I said on the previous video that I've done about the RS, because what is the trend of Gotway is that the wheels, they get larger and larger, and I thought that this wheel getting larger will give you a lot of wobbles. I believe that when you go to the RS you'll have even a little bit more wobbles than you get with the MSP, but in reality that is not true. So this wheel is super stable, and that is something that we are seeing in the wheels from Gotway, and also from the wheel from Emotion, the V11, that is super stable also. And I think that is related also with the weight. So this wheel is heavier than the MSP, and I think this helps you with the experience. And what I like about heavy wheels and this stability is how the wheel curves to the sides, and when you are curving with this is the same similar experience that you have with the V11. With the V11 is my favorite wheel for that, because it's so tall between your legs. It really feels like a motorbike when you are curving, and this one is my second favorite. The third one is the Sherman, but the Sherman have a problem. It starts doing that, but when you reach, like, imagine 45 degrees, you really feel the weight just dropping to the side. Not exactly the same experience there. Another thing that I didn't like about the MSP is the need of power pads, and with these ones, at least with these pedals, the experience is simply amazing. I really feel in control. I don't feel that I need to put power pads. Obviously, there are many of you guys that loves to use power pads. I like to feel my legs free, so even my power pads, I use them in a way that I can continue to move my legs front and backwards with a lot of space. So that is my riding experience. So let's talk about bearings. That is the last thing that I want to point it out, and it's been like a trend in this world of electric unicycles in 2020, is that the new wheels, they are not coming with a normal axle, and it's coming with hollow motors that will give you 4 points of contact with your axle, but that makes you change from a normal bearing for these massive bearings. And I want just to bring back the time and talk about the Emotion V11 that, if you follow me for a while, you know that is my favorite wheel. They started with Z bearing, not RS bearings, and they've been testing that wheel for 2 years, 3 years, and because we was complaining about those bearings, and it makes sense, but in the same time I think it brought all this issue, is that the Z bearing is basically all metal in one side and is open on the other side. So the bearing is much stronger than 2 RS bearings. So 2 means rubber in both sides, because RS is rubber sealing bearings. So it's much better for this type of weather condition, but all the weight and effort that we put it, the bearing is not as strong. And I think that's the reason why you start hearing that heating noise happening inside the bearing, and why after just a bit they are completely gone. So that's the reason I think that the Z bearings for a hollow motor is better. It will be good to have like a Z bearing with a cup on the other side. There are also some RS bearings that they are just rubber in one of the sides. That will be maybe the solution. I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm not an expert in bearings, but I just wanted to point this out because I've been riding for a long period of time with my Emotion V11, never had issues with the bearings. And if you look to my good friend Adam from Wrong Way, by the way, shout out for him. What I'm saying is Adam really used heavily the V11. He went inside the water crazily. Obviously, I don't think that that's the way to use an electric unicycle, but if you want to use, you know what is the consequences. This one doesn't have any problems with the bearings. I've been riding since he arrived. When it's really raining, I can't, because the shell is slightly broken, so the water can go in, the backlight is broken, the front light doesn't work, so it's not a wheel that is in perfect conditions. But even having hit the floor so hard at 45 miles per hour, it continued to glide like nothing else. And maybe if I could just having a shell and just swap it around, I will stay with it, because I really enjoyed the experience that you can take out of the Gotway or Begode RS high speed. So this is just my full opinion about the RS. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. My name is Marco, this is MADpack. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment below, smash the thumbs up, do whatever you want, but always with a smile on your face, and I hope to see you in the next one.